Hi, thanks for tuning in. My name is Chris Metcalf. I'm with Flex North America. I wanted to take the time to show you our CS40 wet saw. This is an all-purpose general granite saw. Can be used with a 5-inch blade as well as a curve cutting blade. Let's take the thing out of the box and I'll show you a few ways to put on those different blades. When you open your box, you're going to have a plastic bag that's going to have a couple different wrenches, a couple different screws, as well as some adapters, which I'll get into later when we attach the curve cutting blade. Also, your owner's manual. Your water adapter kit. This is a wet and dry saw. You can use it either way, depending on the application that you're going to use the saw for. You've got a side handle. The unit comes GFCI, so you've got a built-in cord with a GFCI directly on it. The first thing you notice when you get this saw out of the box is, wow, it has a little bit of weight to it, and it's just a beefy saw. And really what it comes down to is the unit has a lot of copper around that armature and field, which is going to give you the torque and the power that's needed when cutting stone. You also notice a stainless steel base. Your adjustments are just a beefy adjustment that really look good when you're using this saw. I just took out of the box as well. This is a guide, which can go in the front or the back, depending on what position you think you need that in. And there's just a little adjustment there. Get that in there. Say you're making a straight cut on tile or something, or doing a groove cutting for putting in rods in the back of your granite. You can set this and run this along your edge of your piece that you're working with. Let's set that aside. Go ahead and put our handle in. Handle has a nice spot. And just, having the two hands, one on the trigger and one on the head of the unit, just feels good when you're using this saw. My friends from Diamax sent me a few different Cyclone blades. We have the 5-inch, the 4.5, which will also fit on here, and a curve cutting blade. And I don't know if everybody understands what that curve cutting blade is, but it's actually a cupped blade. And this is really designed for doing arches or doing like a toilet flange cut out in tile, or maybe even like granite bowls and an 1.25 countertop. And with a 5-inch saw, that's why this is a stone saw and not a tile saw, because when you apply a 5-inch blade, you're able to get that depth of cut, which is a 3 centimeter or 1.25 inch, and this saw is able to do that with a 5-inch blade. Let's put just our standard blade on, our 5-inch. Take it out of the package here. I'm going to get my adapters out and lay them out here on the table. A couple different types of wrenches, which are used for tightening down that blade. And then all your different adapters. And you have two different lengths of screws. One, the longer screw is used for the curve cutting, and the shorter screw is used for your straight blade. You also have two different arbor attachments. One thinner, which is used with your straight blade, and one that's thicker, which is used with your curve cutting blade. And then that outer kind of flange nut that goes between the blades. So you put that thinner one on the unit itself. And this is something that a lot of people have trouble understanding, but in most of your diamond blades, you've got a couple different knockouts, and they're like almost brass rings, and you just push those out. And there's also an inner ring, which is a 20 millimeter. So when you take this out, you're going to want that little ring that's in this tool. That's what actually goes with this unit, and you can put that on there. You can also leave it in the blade if you'd like. And you literally just put that around that arbor. You also want to pay attention to the arrows and the arrow that's on the unit. The unit has an arrow which tells you the direction of the blade. Diamond blades have a specific way of going on because that's the way the diamond is inside, embedded in the blade. And if you put it on the wrong way, it's not going to cut very good for you. So you want to make sure you get that blade on proper. Like I said, I get that brass ring in there and I get the blade in the proper position. You have to have that adapter on before you put the blade in. But once you get that 20 millimeter adapter in there, I'm now going to put my flange, my outside flange nut on there, and then my short bolt for the straight blade. And remember, on this spindle, it's reverse thread. So you want to make sure you don't try and turn it the wrong way. I use my wrench in my other adapter and just give it a nice torque down so you have a nice, it's on there nice. And that's really going to give you that straight blade, give you a good cut. This is the 5-inch blade that we put on here. You can also, I'll show you, put the 4.5-inch blade if that's what you have. You will not be able on a 4.5-inch blade to be able to go through that 1.25 or 3 centimeter material. So you have to have a 5-inch. That's why this is a 5-inch saw. But it can also accept, you know, the 4 or 4.5-inch diamond blade as well. You're just not going to get that same depth of cut that you would with a 5-inch blade. Something to remember. Let's take this blade back off, and I want to show you how the curve cutting blade goes on and what adapters you use. Remember, when you're removing that center screw, it is reverse thread. So just sometimes you got to put that in your mind when you're doing this so you don't actually accidentally strip that bolt out. Take the thinner flange off. I'm now going to put that thicker flange on that came with the unit. It goes right down over there. I'm going to pop out my little 20 millimeter adapter, and I'm going to use that 20 millimeter adapter. It looks like Diamax with this blade, it does not come with that 20 millimeter reducer. Most of the curve cutting blades will come with that 20 millimeter reducer, and you can put it right in there. When you buy this saw, typically you have a straight blade that comes with this 20 millimeter adapter. It's more common, so that's why I have that. Once again, this blade only goes on one way. This is a little bit of a challenge to get that in there. It's a tight fit, but when you do get it in place, you want that brass insert, the 20 millimeter brass insert put down. It's going to use the same outside flange to go over top that. I put that right over there. It fits only one spot, so you find that sweet spot, get it in there. Now I'm going to use my longer threaded bolt that came with the unit. Reverse thread again. Get it started. Once I get it down there, I'm going to put my wrench on there, and I'm going to tighten this down. Just like I said, give that a nice turn. That's how you put that curve cutting blade on there. And you can see in the camera the way that fits on there. Just once again, some other features. It is able to step cut. Nice beefy way to step cut, or maybe you're only going down a certain distance. Your brass water back here, which you can hook up your hose to. Stainless steel base, I think I mentioned before. We took this cord off to the side because a lot of times when people are using this saw, they're typically cutting, you know, moving this saw all around, doing different cuts in granite and marble, making the cuts that are needed to get those bowls cut out, the sinks cut out, and different things like that. This is a very versatile wet saw or dry saw. Can be used for many different applications, and I hope that this video gives you a little bit of an understanding of how it goes together, how you can use the straight blade, how you can use the curve cutting blade, and helps give you a few pointers on it. But once again, this is a CS40 wet saw from Flex Power Tools, and feel free to ask questions if you have anything in the video. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.